Check, check, 1, 2. Hello. Hello, Internet. There we go. Hello, comrades, and welcome to another episode of Under Construction. I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. This week, we are... I kind of wish I had a rotating thing. I don't have the... like, extemporaneous joke-making chops to start off with a goof every single time. Hi, Lafayette. But no, I have rolled straight from one train game into another. I was just messing around a railroader before this, spending some time. Building stream live now. I could have been productive, but this week has been very productive in a certain kind of way. Let's see. We got to start off with this. I feel like it's going to be a quiet day around here. Yesterday, or last week, it was, we shall beat to quarters. Oh, if that's what you want to beat it to. I found my book of all the different state quarters the other day. No, I've had a relatively productive week in terms of everything, so I felt like I owed myself some time to not be productive. Of course, in adult life, there is no time to not be productive. There is only you need to be cleaning the kitchen, or doing laundry, or what have you, and today is really no exception. But I figured I would take some time. And after all, I couldn't get too wrapped up in things. I had this going on. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to put down in the middle there. Oh my god, we're just stacking on the right side. Look at this. Now I don't know what to do with this. This is not going to go well. Okay, that's probably about as well as I could have hoped it would go. No, 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 no! Ah, rats. We're already doing better than our last two attempts. Already. It was a pretty low bar to clear. Let's spin this around, put it over there. There we go. And then we'll put this way down to the bottom. Maybe we'll get one row, maybe we'll get two. Oh, we did get two. I'm going to put this right there. Okay. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Don't touch. Shoot. Well, there goes our double points. Oh well, I tried. Anywho, need to find a distraction every episode. But welcome everyone in. Good evening, Mopac. Let's just put that over there. This over here. And I've run out of good places to put things. I was actually just reading a story, and this will come back to, of course, last week I was raving about Car Talk, one of the greatest radio shows ever, perhaps. And I don't even think that's much of an exaggeration. It's a great piece of media. And before we started, I was listening to an episode, and the last call that I got to listen to before turning it off and getting ready for this show was a call from someone who was planning on hiking through Death Valley. 180 miles during the summer, during the day, taking about, I don't remember what they said, they originally anticipated it would take like 20 days or something. They were going to hike 15 miles a day. They were going to have a water stop in the middle. They were hiking along the, they were hiking along the road. So the car question was, hey, if we move the cars, like 15 miles a day, is that going to be bad for them? Like, what should we expect to break? And Click and Clack kind of said, like, oh, there's not going to, you're not moving them much, they're not going to overheat, you should be fine. And I found obviously what they thought was these guys are goners, right? These people are going to try to walk through one of the hottest places on Earth in the middle of the summer. Um, they're going to die. Uh, Dinesh here is going to die. His wife is going to die. His friend is going to die. Um, there's no way. There's no way, right? So I decided to look it up to see if I could find an obituary. And it turns out somebody made a very low budget website that actually chronicles this guy's walk. Like, there's a photographic record and a journal record. They encouraged him to make a journal, and send it out every day in case he didn't make it through the whole thing. Um, this was back in 1999, I think. Um, so yeah, there are some low resolution photos. There are some journal entries. It's honestly really neat and kind of impressive and shocking. And I haven't made it through the whole thing. I've only read the first 4 days or so, so I can't spoil it. I can't tell you if they make it or not. I can't tell you if anyone was left out there in the desert. I wouldn't be surprised, but there was a mention though, and this took me back to our recent trip to Colorado where we went to the Four Corners. There was a mention of the fact that apparently park rangers would encourage people to stop at Death Valley National Park just to sort of take in the heat on their way to Las Vegas, right? People are almost in disbelief at how hot it can really get. So, why not see for yourself? And that was the sort of recommendation. They said during the summertime, the rangers tend to stay in the offices, and they go out on patrol, etc. But for the most part, they don't linger out there, and they don't encourage people to linger out there either. They seem to think that that Dinesh and his party were also certainly going to be goners. That was the impression I got. Oh shoot! Oh shoot! That wasn't exactly what I wanted. Oh, we're causing collapses over there. Nope. Okay, we'll put this down over here. Everything's coming down, which is honestly the best thing we could have hoped to have happened because I thought we were going to run out of space. I thought this was it. I thought it was game over. I should take recommendations on what to do to open these streams. Not Tetris is just fine, right? But maybe I do want people to try to turn into the stream starting tradition. Speaking of stream traditions, we do not have a yacht club, as mentioned in the chat in the thread. I have run out of yacht club. I actually didn't have one last week either. I was planning to go and get more, and then my schedule got kind of messed up, and I just forgot. I was going to go today, but I was expecting to sell a car today. Gloria's car, Moose, the 1996 Volvo 960, with all the fun stickers and the angry eyes and all that jazz. We may have finally found a buyer for it for pretty cheap. Hi, Virgo. Welcome to the stream. But, it doesn't run, so I might try to get more money out of him. I might say, I might say that, well, we started at $500, you offered $350, can we meet in the middle? You're getting a whole other set of rims. No, they haven't seen it yet, don't worry. They offered they're getting a whole set of rims, they're getting the original radio, like, these things aren't worth nothing. Hopefully, this person does rasterize this car, Mango Gobbles, but if it's just going to the junkyard, there's still some useful pieces. Or if it's becoming a parts car. I wouldn't be unhappy if it became a parts car. I don't know how Gloria would feel about that. But if it is If it is doing something other than becoming a block of scrap metal, I'm relatively happy with that outcome. Um, and there's a bug on my desk. I also have the window open. Oh, I took my fingers off the keyboard. Oh, wow, I still managed to... No, the frame is fine. The transmission is busted. Um, it's a structurally sound automobile, but it's not a mechanically sound one. Oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. There we go. We did pretty well that time. Okay, let's get to work. Let's get to work on our railroad here. From one train game to another. Started off the afternoon in Railroader, and then we ended up here. We were placing some stuff around before. I put in my, like, Potter's Field, whatever you want to call it here, with all the little shotgun houses. I should probably decorate this a little bit. I'm thinking just these splines down the middle here. Just to give it some character and not just be an open piece of land. Now, thankfully, this area is pretty far from the railroad tracks. It's not really going to be a problem if it's not very detailed. But I still want everything to at least be presentable, and this area being that sort of works for me. I will also, because texture is what makes me feel like an area is quote-unquote done. Obviously, that is not the case, and like I've said 100,000 times, we need to make a tree pass on the entire town. That is a future problem for future me. But what is a current problem for current me is the fact that I don't have an air conditioning in this room, and I am going to die. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. I would love a cold Yacht Club soda. And thankfully the temperature will, I would hope, be going down over the course of the show. I've got the window wide open. But that's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. I could suffer for the rest of the evening. I don't know. Anyway, let's just get this grass in here along the edge there. I do want to put in some gravel here. Let's find a decent gravel texture. This one will do. It's seasonal gravel. I assume that just means snow appears on it. I don't know for sure. And then I will add that there and this here. Oh, you know what? Let's actually scoot this over to here. There. Yep. And maybe we'll be kind enough to add, only suffer a tiny bit because Rhode Island is so small. If only. Sadly, we have an outsized amount of suffering here. We are well beyond our quotient of suffering. The suffering per acre is off the charts. But that's what happens. That's what happens when you get lazy and don't put in the, air conditioner in the room with the computers. The computer itself, it's worth pointing out, is also not very happy about this arrangement. It is making loud fan sounds, for lack of a better word. I mean, that's exactly what it is. What is this here? Oh, this is so much that there's a per acre statistic. Yeah, well, I mean, per square mile, you know, it'd get diluted because there are so few square miles. You know, you got to use per acre. I was testing my Rhode Island knowledge. Ooh, maybe that's what we can do in the future. And it would be like a short 10 minutes, right? In and out, 10-minute adventure. I could play some open guesser. So some of you, many of you I might expect, know what GeoGuessr is. We've done it for a community playdate before. I would love to do it again. Um, GeoGuessr has become less hospitable for the free user, right? Uh, you basically need to have somebody with a subscription to play with friends, because you can only play, I think, 15 minutes, and then you have a cooldown of 5 minutes, or something like that. It's maybe you play for 5 minutes, you have a cooldown of 5 minutes. Um, Point is, GeoGuessr is not the free game that it used to be. So someone out there went and created OpenGuessr, which is, I don't know if it's open source or what. OpenGuessr sort of implies that it is, but I don't really want to say that and be wrong, right? Um, so it might be open source, it might not be, but it is playable for free. Excuse me. I get to see 15 and 16 next to each other in the shops. The 16 was an 080 when I was there at the EBT. I need to get back there now that they're doing stuff. I keep saying that, it keeps not happening. Um, that is really neat. That's kind of funny. You saw the world's second largest 080. I don't actually know how an EBT Mikado with the front and rear, uh, sets of wheels removed would stack up to an 080. I assume it's actually still considerably smaller than like a USRA 080 mud digger. Gotta keep trying to inject that. Gotta get them into the public vernacular. And I was talking about 060s the other day, and I was just like, oh, I need to say Bourbonus, and I need to say Boer. All right, let's. I think this road is hovering. Yeah, a little bit. It's not bad. The way that the foliage is intruding onto the road, it's probably not accurate. I mean, I've seen roads where that's happened, but this is an even more car-centric era in some respects. Getting the infrastructure built out. But yeah, so OpenGuessr is a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time on it today. I was testing my Rhode Island know-how. I was testing my Rhode Island know-how. I was doing rounds in my fair state. And, of course, being that it is a GeoGuessr derivative, some things haven't changed. It is very much still a problem to miss by only a little, especially in a map as small as the Rhode Island state map. Also, it doesn't appear that they have a way to do zone custom maps. So like everything has to be handpicked, which makes it a lot tougher. Sup, L is currently killing zombies in Stalingrad on Call of Duty Vanguard. Nice. What a game mode that's managed to persevere. Okay. Chain link fence around that? Yeah, probably. Gonna be a lot of chain link fences in this area of town. Okay. My day is okay. My work day was pretty easy. My evening has been toasty, which is not necessarily a good thing right now, but it is what it is. And other than that, I'm glad to be here doing this. Again, tried out OpenGuessr today, finally, had a lot of fun. Played some Railroader before this. Contemplating buying a D10. I kind of want to just on principle. So I'll tell you where I am. I've got a Railroader save. It's the Woonasquatucket 5. It is number 5 because it's the 5th Woonasquatucket save, as you might imagine. It is called this because, well, the Woonasquatucket is my modded save. I'm testing out the quote-unquote official Horseman mod pack, which isn't really released in any capacity, but it exists. I have it here. There's exactly one copy. It's on my hard drive. So, if you want it, you can always ask me. It's not rocket surgery. There's also a whole set of settings. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, I try to keep the manually set settings relatively simple, but I have. Why is it an oven, Matt? Uh, I don't love sending along a huge list of instructions with a mod pack. I kind of want it to just work. But the two things, the two things, which I would no, three things. I think these are the three things. Number one, set all the minimums in Lego's used engine market to 0. Set all the minimums to 0, so you might get nothing of a kind on a given day. That's number one. Number two is set the time between weather changes at 3:59 minutes. So it'll last, 7 hours or however long that is. I'm just going to treat this as a normal residential block. That one's unimportant. You can do whatever you want with the weather settings. 3, set your coal consumption to half. You could also set your diesel consumption to 200%. Ooh, Jocelyn made stuffed shells. Ooh, I love stuffed shells. The weather mod does actually work now. It's really neat. I mean, it doesn't do anything other than, aesthetics, right? But it's nice to have. It is one of the, there are a lot of aesthetics mods out there, and I feel there are a handful of aesthetics mods out there, and I feel like I have most of them. There are so many Railroader mods that change track arrangements. Like, so many. So many. Everyone has their own idea on what industries you need. And it's crazy to me. I recognize why... oh, you crashed your game. Oh. Well, that's interesting. I have not had that problem with it. So, I don't know what to tell you. But it does work for at least one person. I wonder if you have any other mods, if there are incompatibilities that aren't known or aren't advertised, maybe. I can't say. I don't know. But what I do know is that it works for me. I just want a double track main with super elevated curves. That's... Double tracking the railroad is an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I can't hate on it. It's a different kind of operation. I would kind of like half of the railroad to be double tracked. Maybe if the line between the line east of Bryson was double tracked. It wouldn't be necessary by any stretch of the imagination. However, it would be different. It would be different, and that's sort of where I stand on that. I think having it half and half would having it half and half means that you have two different places with two different operational schemes, right? You have a double track railroad on one end, and you have a single track railroad on the other end, and that is, if Mew was here, I would be mentioning this pretty much for him. That is very much the NEB&W, the model railroad from our college. I think that's neat. I like having half and half. Oh, I never put the stream in the Trainz Discord. If for nothing else, then to have some, if for nothing else, then to have some variety across the whole railroad. Is it necessary? No, absolutely not. It's not necessary. It's not really realistic either. Railroads have spent plenty of time subsisting on single-track main lines with passing sidings, up to and including the current day. And Railroader, even on maxed-out contracts, is scarcely in the ballpark of needing that kind of thing, demanding that kind of thing. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Um, Railroader I hardly knew her. Hi, Pat. Um, I think that having it would be neat. Uh, but this is not open TTD. It's not it's not a necessity by a long shot. And I feel the same way about a lot of industry mods. Now, I do wish there was more to do. I wish there were more line-side industries between East Whittier and Silva. Right now, your biggest money maker when you unlock that stretch is the paper mill in Silva. In Silva. So you don't have to move stuff to get to it. Hello, East. And other than that, there's nothing. There's a couple industries in Dillsboro. I think one industry in Silva proper. And then I guess the two industries in whatchamacallit. The two industries in Wilmot. Other than that, you got nothing. And there are like some passing sightings. I guess there really aren't any passenger stops out there, so it kind of makes sense. But anyhow, I am filling in triangles as I have been. This is not. I mean, this doesn't count, but it is a triangle-ish. By triangles, I just mean sections of map that I haven't touched. For those who haven't been here to hear me obsess about the triangles. This is a triangle in here. This is one of the things I need to work on next, although I may work on everything north of this road here all at once. I'll probably not, though. I feel like this area is important enough. I would love some ice cream, but I'm not going to eat ice cream on the stream. If I had a milkshake, I would love a milkshake. I don't need a milkshake. I'm still trying to lose weight. Not succeeding, but trying. So, you know, I'm attempting something. I had a milkshake over the weekend. Yeah, between Whittier and Silva. Between Whittier and Silva, I would love for there to be our good friend Julie should DoorDash me a milkshake. That's the last thing that needs to happen. Something's not right here. I can't put my finger on what. Oh, man. This road's hovering. What you need is what I'm drinking, a Shiners. No, I don't need that either. Alright, let's fix the road and see how bad this looks. Okay. That is not as bad as I expected. This driveway is looking a little weird, but in total, it's fine. More industry would be great, but perfect amount of stations. I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree with that. Has anyone here who has played Railroader experimented with running express passenger train? An express passenger train and a local. I find the number of passengers you get, even earlier in the game, kind of overwhelming and unnecessary. It's a lot of people. You get a lot of people. So, yeah, I see, now I want ice cream. I have ice cream. I own ice cream. There's ice cream in the freezer. I don't need it, though. I definitely do not need it. No, okay. One diagonal one that's parallel to the back of the house is one thing. I think I'm going to do parallel with the, perpendicular to the roadways here. I can hear the sound of, like, someone scraping a rake across concrete. That's all I can think of. Homemade ice cream. I haven't had homemade ice cream in a very long time. Best I can do is Tillamook. Tillamook brand, pretty good. Pretty good. That's my recommendation for ice cream. Baby. Hello, my love. Hey. Hello, Mr. Nicholas Wakefield. Yes, apparently you are supposed to tell me to get ice cream. I don't need ice cream. I do not need ice cream. No one should DoorDash me a milkshake. Gloria should not hand me a cup of ice cream. I don't need ice cream. Not during the... No. Not during the stream. Maybe afterward. As a treat. But it's basically the choice between I have ice cream or I have dinner. Because I ate way too much food yesterday. Way too much food. Solution: ice cream for dinner. Well, yeah, I mean that would be the condition under which I'm eating ice cream. The problem is we're talking about this and I'm getting hungry. That's not good. I don't need to be hungry right now. Okay, we're putting a big old fence around that place. And I think I'll just put some bushes in the back here. Let's find our darker green. There you are. He's enjoying the ice cream? Yeah. I hope he's enjoying the freeware. Does Jointed Rail still ask you that? Does it still say, are you enjoying the freeware? If it doesn't, that's something from like a lost era. Get an ice cream sandwich. I don't have any ice cream sandwiches. I just have ice cream. I have cones. I have cones. But not an ice cream sandwich. Sometimes I'll buy Klondike bars. And do unspeakable things for Klondike bar. I think my bread is gone off. I have burger buns. But I'm not putting a scoop of ice cream between burger buns. Or pieces of bread, even. That seems like it wouldn't go well. Maybe you could toast the bread, and it would give it enough structure to hold up the ice cream. Maybe. Oh, shoot. This lines up really nicely. If you... No, some places do like a hot brownie with ice cream as dessert, right? I'm sure like Applebee's does something like that. Like that's the kind of biblically accurate ice cream sandwich. Yeah. That is the kind of thing that I feel like you could get in an Applebee's. You can get a cookie or a brown, like a warm brownie or like a hot lava cake with ice cream. If you can't get it there, you can definitely get it at a very similar kind of establishment, right? Like that's what I'm pretty sure about that. I feel like what I'm saying is probably accurate, reasonably accurate. Now I need a full fence at the back here. Chocolate lava cake with a scoop of ice cream on top is peak. I agree. Can you tell me where I can buy one? I'm not going to. Not tonight, certainly. But, you know, the next date night that I take Gloria on might just happen to be that. While on fire? How is it on fire? In what manner is the fire? I want a big old tree back here. I know we were talking about a tree pass later, but this one has to be done immediately. Big leaf maple. Douse in alcohol. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I figured. It's like a creme brulee, but ice cream. Which, what a great idea. I go and get ice cream during the stream. During the stream, I'm just gonna, yeah. All right, come with me. You know, it's like the song towards the end of Inside, Bo Burnham. What is the song? Is it Get Up? Come with me, unplugs PC. Say, Ellis, you're an adult, right? You can have anything you want and not be told no. You'll spoil your dinner or something. Well, I'm the one telling me that. See, it is wonderful to become an adult and to have no one tell you what you can and can't eat. But then, no one tells you what you should and shouldn't eat until you get an app for that. Or a nutritionist. One is cheaper than the other, though. AI is going to totally put nutritionists out of business. Just kidding. No, you need the person that told Tom Brady that he can't, like, eat a strawberry ever. Apparently we're getting a Tom Brady statue. It's going to be unveiled in August. Anyway, I want there to be some different color grass on this tip here. Let's try this. Plant a strawberry patch, the Tom Brady monument. But like, and I can't even abide by that, right? I can't live with being told what I can and can't eat. I'm really bad at listening. But I can make the decision to not eat at all, which is why I do intermittent fasting. But even that, like, I need to make my fast longer because it's not working for me. I eat too much. I have too much time to eat. Especially when we're, like, having people over or going this and that place and, oh, well, we don't really have time to make food today, so we'll just, we'll just get food somewhere, right? Also, I might have broken the game again. Last time all of my trees were coming up like that, I had broken the game. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna put an Eli Manning jersey. Yeah, so load up Factorio. Yeah, and just lock in on Factorio for days on end. Don't eat. No eating, no drinking, just the factory must grow. I mean, I could, but I have other things to lock in on. East, expect a message in the groomsmen group soon regarding suit acquisition. And figure out where your nearest Men's Warehouse is. So I'm doing stuff. Doing wedding stuff. Let's find a shrub here. Well, listen, you're an adult. No one can tell you what you can and can't do, but Gloria might be mad. So if you do that. As long as you don't show up in, like, a Penn Central shirt, because I feel like that's a bad omen for any wedding. So who knew when you contact a railroad museum about a route you're going to make in-game, and they are happy to help on mailing you a book on the yards, like a top-down view of them. That's really cool. I love that. I love seeing actual track maps of railroad yards. It's great inspiration. On a Conrail inspires. All right, Godspeed, East. Good to see you. Okay. Is this block done? Can we call this block done? Because that's more effort towards the triangles. All right, we're done today. Let's pack it in, folks. We're all wrapped up. No. Okay. You know what? Since we're over here, let's work at the graveyard. What parts of this graveyard are going to look like this? I think this is going to be over here only. But we can have areas that were not completely filled. Back to Surveyor 2.0. I also want to be reasonable with where I'm orienting these against. Because right now they all face the front here. Like this old part of the graveyard, they all face this road here. And then we'll say they open this onto here, and so then everything started facing that front area there. I'm not going to do a fanning out. That's a lot of extra effort. But I might reorient this. Well, here's what I might do. I might make a sort of dividing line here. It'd be interesting to see a cemetery on here with a rail line like the necropolis. That would be kind of interesting. Um, we are definitely going to be building other cemeteries, you know. This might end up being one of the largest singular cemeteries, but I wouldn't bet on it being the largest, number one, and I also wouldn't bet on it being the only one we build in the foreseeable future. There's probably going to be a very large burial ground that's going to be larger than this in Gilson City. There is very likely to be a a reasonably large graveyard at some of these other places along the Mansfield branch, etc. We could have a military cemetery. That would make sense with what we're building up there. Oops, I grabbed a gravestone. Okay. So this is going to make life a little bit difficult. Because... Whoa. Oh, no! This is going to make life a little bit difficult. Because I need to now meet these two angles in the middle somewhere. It's not exactly what I would call fun. But I gotta figure it out. A national cemetery would fit well in Gilson. I was thinking up on the Mansfield Branch Railroad, in one of the military, like maybe in Cobra, because that's a big military city, basically, or military town. It's not a city. It's not that big, but it is going to have a very large military presence, like an outsized military presence. So maybe there you would see a military cemetery. Our big military cemetery here in Rhode Island is in Exeter, which is pretty far off the beaten path from just about everything. So it's not... I'm not concerned with necessarily having it nestled in the middle of everything. It's not... It doesn't have to be Arlington, right? It doesn't have to be like, oh, here's the nation's capital, and we put the giant military cemetery right here next to the Pentagon or our equivalent, right? Do I have the Pentagon? Is the Pentagon in Trainz? There's a model railroad in the Pentagon. I don't know if I have the Pentagon. I don't really intend on using it. It's a very iconic building. It's a little too iconic, actually. I probably am going to stay away from using these extremely iconic buildings. For the same way, I don't download them for SimCity. Which is that I don't want it to look... because it's not a real place, you know? For as much as we have conversations about what Tolbrand emulates, it is very much not a real place, and I'm not trying to make it a real place. I'm not trying to make it a copy of any particular real place. Of course, that doesn't exactly exclude the hypothetical presence of something like the Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty. If I have some of those, I mean, I'm not going to say whoa. What? Why does it get mad sometimes? Why does it get so mad? Where did that even go? Probably because I grabbed the ground and not the building. We're going to find some gravestones scattered somewhere where they're not supposed to be. I swear. Because those had to go somewhere. Oh, my neck. Okay. So... it doesn't preclude something like that existing in this world. In fact, it sort of makes sense that it might, because this is not real life, and there is no actual New York, right? There's not going to be a place where they're going to say, oh, they already built the Empire State Building over there. So we're not going to build it over here. Like, we're not going to build an identical building. What are you talking about? Why would we do that? Um, you know, it's food for thought, I suppose. Oh, I really should just be grabbing individual ones because I'm getting to the point where because we're on an angle, it's not gonna work out. Yeah, I'm not exactly what I would call a fan of the fact that I started building on an angle, building the gravestones on an angle. I guess it's just what we're gonna have to deal with. It's just what we're gonna have to deal with after all. If I move a whole block of them, maybe over here, and I rotate them like this, I wonder if I can use some sort of tool in Surveyor 2 to get them all to the same rotation. Because right now I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I don't think that's how that works in real life. I don't think they line up lines of gravestones by, yeah, this looks about right. It just doesn't. It doesn't strike me that that's how things would be done. Okay. Okay, we've got like 3 of these blocks of graves. I'm gonna have to space them out a little bit, or at least organize them so that they're not running headlong into the rows of graves immediately before them. And I would like to grab another stone, maybe this one, for there. Yeah, and we're gonna have to, maybe I should put down a ruler as like that this is the line, right? Edit in Surveyor Classic. Rulers are useful, even though I don't like how they look on the map. They create all sorts of clutter. Alright, so if you touch the line, you're out. I also like this because it means I can keep things all at the same direction. There is a benefit and there is both a pro and a con to having the randomized object rotation on in Surveyor. Um, Something that I do, pretty much universally. I almost never turn it off. I I think that having that random rotation is better than not. If you are placing down buildings, you're probably going to want to orient them in a specific way, and I would guess that that's not cardinally, you know, I would guess that you have a specific idea in mind, like you're following a street grid. Sure, plenty of stuff is going to be cardinal. If you're taking it relatively easy, you're going to try to make as much of your route cardinal as possible. It saves you all sorts of time and effort and headache to do that. I try to avoid it, both because I am a masochist and because I don't like the way that it looks. Because I get painfully aware of, after doing route, like, I feel like I'm influenced by the route reviews in no small way. After doing so many route reviews and seeing so many cardinally oriented things, I uh, I've just like I'm rebelling from that. I'm rebelling from cardinal directions. I think in like true Frank and Frank style, right angles are a myth. We're not doing that. Right angles were made up by mathematicians to sell degrees. They're not a real thing. So cardinal directions, therefore, are also not a real thing. I'm just going to go at whatever angle I feel like going at, and we're going to deal with the consequences of that as they come. I would like there to be like a small gravel path, but I don't think I can. I don't know if there's a gravel path like there is a dirt path. I want a dirt path. Um, what is this colonial city design? Yeah, exactly. Um, exactly. We're winging it. Oops. No, I want show search filter. Road footpath. Oh, PS footpath gravel. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay. So we've got that, we've got that. Do I move on to the next section? And also, what do I do in here? Probably just keep things ordinarily aligned with this. Here's what I should do. Here's what I should do. Let me do as much as I can in a very short stretch of time. Wow, look at that. Would you look at that? Look how well that worked. Suggesting a few elaborate monuments. Yeah, we have this guy over here. Oh, we should definitely put some, like, mausoleums. Let me see if I have any of those. Prop open the search filter. Whoa. What is this? Not what I'm looking for, obviously. Okay. We have a wall. Flagpole is a good idea. But I don't know what the Tolbrin flag looks like. Let's see. We already put all these down. Whoa. Oh, gravel. Damn it. I thought that was a buttload of graves. Oh, here we go. Oh, we used some of these. We used this for this. And then this right here. Maybe this is how we can fill in some of these. We also have like this. Which, what does this sign say? I'm gonna guess it doesn't say anything. Oh no, it says a whole lot, actually. And yeah, we used a bunch of these. We used most of these, if I remember right. We only have a couple of big ones. We've got this guy. I kind of want to put something somewhere that's like, oh, someone is extraordinarily revered. Maybe like here. Maybe this is what the sign should be for. Let's move that sign over here. I was hoping to find some varied mausoleums that I could put over in the corner, but it doesn't look like I'll be able to do that. There are only a couple of ones. There's this one too. Can I put this somewhere, like maybe in the middle, like right here? Yeah, like so. Yeah, DLS might have some. I will check real quick. Let's go download station. I think that's how you spell mausoleum. There are two. And they both look like they belong in a military cemetery, so I'm going to say that they don't go here. Oh, there is one sort of thing that looks a little different. Hold on, I'm going to save the map really quick, because I know downloading stuff from the DLS while we have the map open sometimes causes the game to crash. So, give me a second. I'm going to save the map, then I'm going to download something that we can stick in the corner, I think. Oh, my neck. Could really use a fan in here. I think that would mess with the microphone, but I could really use a fan in here. That was extremely fast. Mozole. I wonder if I can mix this with some of the other grave stuff to make something... Oops. No, yeah. Where were those ones I said I wasn't using? Yeah, these. I could put these like this and maybe add that gate that we saw. We could also have like a groundskeeper's thing in the awkward corner here. Okay. So this. I feel like I should lower this into the ground a little bit because it's kind of hovering. There we go. And I think I want to put a wall around this, and also a gate in front of it. Yeah, there we go. Although, did I use this gate already? No, no. This gate I should put over there. Should absolutely put this gate over here. I don't enjoy how the roads hover, just by default. Alright, grab these wall ends, bring them up to the gate. This gate reminds me of Knives Out. Okay, there we go. And let's find an appropriate wall, then. I wonder if there's a graveyard wall. No. It can't be a retaining wall. It's got to be something normal. What about this? A brick does not seem like the play, but it stands out. And these things are edged with brick, so maybe it's not the worst choice. Hi, Lafayette. Thank you for touching me on the foot with your cold, wet nose. It was a little weird, but it did feel kind of nice. Because of the cold. Goodbye, Lafayette. Let's put that there. This could be like a whole, like, this is the most important family that ever lived here. This is the Bellington family, or the Bell family. Bell family. Why not? Let's name this. There we go. There we go, we got some work done. I think we should have a little bit of grassy overflow in the back here. Because this might be a little bit difficult to access with a lawnmower. And what about a tool shed? Begs the question of who is the Bell family. Good question. I don't know yet. Someday we might find out. Okay. You know what? Let's actually fit this sideways. I'm trying to think, I'm trying to process really quick how, like, a groundskeeper area might have evolved and how they might have squeezed in some extra stuff as time went on. This shed strikes me as very old and maybe like an original piece of kit that was here, and then eventually they needed a larger shed for like an actual ride-on lawnmower or whatever. Um, there we go. And maybe we can fit some other gravestones in here. Maybe. But that's the graveyard for today. I feel like we made some decent progress. I found this nice gravel path, which I am absolutely going to use again. This triangle is still perplexing me. Still don't know what to put here. I feel like I want to put some sort of general store at the end of this road. So let's find that. How about a Dollar General? No, not the Dollar General. This feels like breads and stuff. I wish Gloria was in here to see it. There's a little general store near where Gloria grew up called Breads and Stuff. The Chesapeake and Ohio 614 has made it to the Strasburg Railroad. It sure has, and isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? It's. I'm almost disappointed that it wasn't there when 611 was there. When's the last time those two have been in the same place? Have those two ever been in the same place? Somebody's probably going to trot out some rail fair thing that I've never heard of that is like, yeah, absolutely, of course they were in the same place. They went to this, and this together, and they did an excursion, and they did like a triple header with 1218. Somebody's about to say that. I feel like that's definitely a thing that happened. I mean, were they part of the same Steam program, even? Do they have any relationship at all? Were 611 and 614 ever in the same room together? Have we ever seen them in the same room together, or are they secretly the same locomotive? Okay. What are we gonna do here? What's the story behind the Presidential Express paint? Oh, on 614? That's a good question. I think that. Oh wait, no, that was the Greenbrier is on the 614. I believe it was American Orient Express related, or like the predecessor or the successor to what would have been the American Orient Express, something like that. I don't know for certain. I feel like if you look up that, you might find what you need. Okay, so I want to mark these out as like what's what, and using farm fields seems like the way to do it. No, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. So, if we look at town growth, right? If we look at town growth, this area, this was the first intersection, right? I've brought that up a couple of times. Originally, the road went this way, through here, and in fact, I think I'm going to move these move these trees out of the way, so you can see a path through here a little bit more clearly. And then I'll fill it in with that. And this tree can move as well. So that was the original intersection. This was one of the original roads. This was like the original road of Bellington. Promotional tool for a luxury train. There you go. But the thing is, this area was not... Huh. How did this develop? I think that road would have ended here. I don't want to imply that this road continued through here, because then they wouldn't have built the station on top of where the road is. You might have had something relatively prestigious down here, but honestly this was probably just sort of the end of the road, and then this was the road that went... This was the road that went from here to... Well, let's see, it went up this way. Crosses the river somewhere up there. This is one contiguous road, right? Crosses the river somewhere just out of frame up here. Continues this way. The videos of 90 towing 614 is really funny. They're really funny. Comes this way, comes through the fields, punches through this little tree tunnel, comes out here in whatever this town was. Dells, maybe. Although Dells was maybe on that side of the river. This might have been something else originally. But comes through the middle of town here. And this all got built up fairly late. Comes across the river here. This was maybe the oldest bridge here, or second oldest after that one. Founded by the Germans in 1904, named for a whale's... Okay. You come through here, through this way, underneath the railroad tracks, and then you curve this way and curve this way, and probably head out of town in that direction, maybe more or less paralleling the railroad tracks. That's something I should figure out. So, this road right here is probably, yeah, this is going to be a main road through here, because this comes through here. That yard big enough? This one here? Probably it's big enough for now. The tracks are all kind of short. If I did anything, it would probably be to lengthen the sort of manifest tracks here, the general yard tracks. But I don't know if they expected too much, or at the very least, they didn't expect super long trains. I could definitely copy this down here like another, another half a mile, and it might look more realistic. But yeah, I guess they weren't expecting very long trains. Getting the correct yard track length is tough. Like, these are 1,000 feet long, maybe? They're not that long. But that's just that was the area that was available. So let's grab this here, and I want this to come down. So straighten this. Last time we spent some time on the road work over here. Use what you have and make the yard work. Exactly. I like doing that. My issues, and I've talked about, like, I'd love to go back to Olive and rebuild the railroad facilities from the ground up. They're a little goofy, especially the yard. I've long had a habit of, I make my yard tracks with too much space in between them. And I don't have enough yard tracks. Olive is very much like that, but it's not really a classification yard. It's not designed to do that. So this way, and then we will probably cross the tracks here. Which is dumb. The Strasburger had bought 614 to restore it back to operation. Did they buy it? I hadn't heard that. I thought it was brought there, like, by its new owners. But I did not know who that was. I was not under the impression that it was the Strasbourg Railroad that had put down the money for 614. I feel like that would have been bigger news. Oh, RJD America bought it. What are those people? Yeah. It's good to have a fully funded restoration. You don't want your locomotive to turn into the next thing in the Strasbourg scrap line. Right. So I want this, and this is probably going to end up being like an unmarked road. I don't know. I'm just going to do this for now and follow this road at least to like here. I don't really know. I'm not totally convinced that there would be a road here. So the first road would have been this one, which heads towards the mountains, heads towards Raven Bridge. Let me spare myself the speculation and break out the map. Tolbrand, Tolbrand.pdn. This isn't going to be a major road by any stretch, but it's going to be a road. And I mean, I could have this go this way, but it makes more sense that this shape is relatively unchanged. This road's shape is relatively unchanged. I don't know what would drive it to be this shape. Maybe that's just the way things were. Maybe I add a hill here that it would be trying to get around. I could height bump this. I could make a hill that is like sort of V-shaped that separates this from this. Make it very subtle, but definitely make it present. Maybe not that subtle, right? Maybe like that. I mean, that's not unsubtle, really. Something that I could do is, yeah, a little bit more. I need to get bolder with this. I need to get bolder with putting hills in towns. I talked a little while ago about how difficult it can be to build on an incline in this game, but I need to not be afraid of it. So let's just do this, and maybe we make it more pronounced later. But the thing that I want to do more than anything else right now is take a terrain track from right about here, more or less split the difference. So let's say 4M standard bump from here to the edge of the map here. It is closer to this than it is to this, and that's fine. What I want to do is I want to put in a gradient of, let's say, 0.05%. Not much. Something very, very subtle. Okay, let's be a little less subtle than that. Let's say 0.2. And then do that. And now I have to deal with this. Now I have to spread this out. Right? That is going to be sort of a ridge line. and there's not going to be any getting around that. That's fine. That's good. I could do more terrain tracks to fill in this area here. I could do that. I could height bump it, which I probably want to height bump the edge, just like the edge over here, just to make sure it's all at the same level. And then we can plateau it down. If we pull up the sensitivity quite a bit, we can do that. Maximum this, maximum that. But I want it to go out quite a distance, quite a ways, which is why terrain tracks might be the play, might be the right option. Terrain tracks let you have this consistency over a long distance. They can lead to too much consistency. Like, that's a problem. They can lead to too much consistency, and by that I mean you get lines where you don't want to see them. The new corduroy pillows are making headlines, and our plateau tool, or our terrain tracks, is making lines in the terrain that I just don't know. I don't know. It's tough to avoid. And usually I don't do terrain right up the edge of the working map, because we're going to be building out. Well, I guess we're not going further than this. We do need this tile. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I don't know what whistle they should put on 614. I'm not a whistle person. I only got the whistle mod for Railroader because everyone raves over it and is like, oh, you know, because it feels like it's an important detail thing. It's an important detail thing. What is new in the land of Rhode Island? I'm glad you asked. Just the other day, over the weekend, I learned that there is a cat cafe in South County area, in Coventry area. And now I really want to go. I want to go to the cat cafe. I want to go hang out with the enormous Maine Coons. We swung by for a visit, just to sort of, you know, just to see what was going on, because I saw that we were at a restaurant, and I said, I wonder if there are any animal shelters around here. So I decided to look it up. It was like a Sunday, I think, so I didn't really expect anything to be open, but I was curious. I figured, you know what, I like it's heartbreaking, right? But I like stopping by an animal shelter and like seeing the dogs and the cats, and just sort of, I don't know, befriending them for a little bit. I love meeting new animals, and I hope they all end up in good homes, etc. I will not be that good home, because I've already got some fluffy idiots that roam around here. But, you know, I like to see them. Okay, yeah, we are. I guess we are just going to do all this with the plateau tool. I'm not super satisfied with the idea of that. It leads to very bumpy terrain, which isn't super flattering to anything. But I want some hills. I should look up the top and bottom of Diamond Hill in Rhode Island. That's something. Yeah, the Cat Cafe has 2 residents, and then I think like 7 that are adoptable. The 2 residents are these 2 enormous Maine Coons. There's a dark one and like a pure white one. I really want to go and love up on the cats in the Cat Cafe. Okay, let's do this. You do need to visit Rhode Island. Okay. There's that. You're gonna mark it off your states list, you know? Okay. So I left some divots by mistake when I was copy pasting terrain, it seems. Um, Not my finest terrain work, but, you know, it is what it is. The other thing that's nice about this, and I really need to, you can see how I haven't brought it far beyond this edge. Something that I should do then, maybe, just to sort of set the edge for myself. I'll bring this down to right there. Oh, whoops, now get rid of this. You'll find signs entering and leaving it on the same road. I don't know if that's a real... I know the picture you're thinking of. I don't know if it's real. I don't... I know about where it would be if it was real. But the thing is... The thing that gets me is that we don't have leaving Rhode Island signs. You know, it's up to the... At least I don't think we do. It's up to the next state to be like, hey, you know, welcome to Massachusetts or whatever. But I know exactly the photo that you're thinking of. Okay. Yeah, and this is, again, I hope this is subtle enough. Almost all of my terrain work for the mountains was done by hand, I guess you could call it. I'm not counting terrain tracks in by hand. If I hit F9 to show the wireframe, does it help? No, it makes it much worse. It makes it much harder to see what's going on. Something that might be nice to do is to have a tool where you can see if you've accidentally created a basin. That is the way to do it. I too wish I had time to foam. Okay, I'll actually get rid of this terrain track too before it confuses me too much. Yeah, we're gonna have a hill here, I guess, and the neighborhood is going to go over the hill. This roadway, which I will do with my traditional, this is a temporary kind of road. We're going to come through this neighborhood here, and then we're going to try to avoid this hill as best we can. So we'll take a right, and then we will, I would imagine, loosely parallel the tracks. So the reason I pulled the map up is because I wanted to know what's next in this direction. So the railroad heads out in this direction and eventually goes through like a notch in some hills that you can get around. You can get around by cutting to the south a ways, and I think that would be what this road is doing. But I would wonder if it would stay with the railroad for longer, because otherwise this is going to be like a state route, right? Well, let's try to avoid that hill there. Let's try to avoid that hill and then come down this way, and maybe it comes down to like towards the railroad. But do know that the road was here first. It's not normal, but the road was here first. This railroad couldn't be hauled all the way through in this direction until they built the Raven Bridge tunnel. This road just kind of winds down to whatever the next town is in this direction. If there was ever a railroad here, maybe there was an interurban here or something. If there was ever a railroad here, any trace of it is long gone or completely built over by this. The road very much predates the railroad in terms of being a functional mode of transportation. And yeah, I don't know about what I'm going to do with this. So, to come back to it, this roadway was first. Excuse me. And so we will probably see some commercial shops. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Commercial stuff along these edges here. At least here, anyway. And maybe back towards this. And I pointed out that this road was here. This would have been a parallel of this. And so, yeah, let's see, commercial around this intersection here. Not too far in that direction, I would imagine. And not too far in this direction either. I don't know if there would have been sufficient commercial attention to draw commerce in this direction, this far away from the riverside and the mill. Speaking of any roadway in here, are there any U.S. highway type roads like US 1 or 66? Yes, that's going to be this guy. This guy right here that isn't loaded in. This is going to be like a U.S. highway type. And so is this, I guess. This already is. I am so happy with this town. It definitely has its shortcomings, but I'm happy with it. I would expect commercial businesses all the way up to this road over here. And then most of this area is going to be residential. Some of it could end up being a little like semi-industrial like this, but I would say most of this is residential. Or some kind of commercial, but not like not a storefront. This is mostly going to be storefronts, is what I'm thinking of here. Yeah, because we would have had a commercial spillover from there. This would have been some of the first commercial areas here. But at this point, this is going to get overtaken by like the downtown area, which is going to be maybe these couple of blocks in here. What can I use to signify like a downtown? I will mark this off like so. Maybe it'll come all the way to here. And then also this side of the road. There's our downtown. That's probably even too big. But we will focus up the large buildings on the center of this area. I've been looking at this like this is the largest building in town. This is probably way too big. This is probably way, way too big for the size of this town. There's a nice building. It's a warehouse, but it's pretty nice. If I was going to use this, I wish I could shrink it, honestly. I wish I could, like, cut out the middle 5 or 6 floors. What is this under? New York offices, of course. Nope, the neighbors turned their air conditioning off. Here's a tenement building of some description. We can definitely use that, physical graffiti style. We've got this building, which may be for some industrial area. I'll put it over here. Or like over there, I guess. This if we do have this building is the World Trade Center of Bellington. It is the there's so much office space in this building that it like depresses office rents for the entire city. Um, yeah, and I did kit bash this building, which also is quite large. Um, the fact that it dwarfs the train station is not something that I'm really happy about. Um, yeah, there's that building. Maybe that's the tallest building here. But even then, it seems big. It seems too big. Whoa! Is this the mall at Steamtown? Um, I think I might also have that. Uh, this is really neat. This is some. This has got to go in Gilson City or something. I mean, look at that. Is this a walkway between the two buildings? Is that what that is supposed to be? Because that is awfully high for a walkway. I do like how it fits in here, though. No setbacks off of this street. If this is the largest and most opulent building here, then it wins. Um, this is kind of weird, though. Like, I don't think I can put this building on the route with a straight face. It seems too new. I'm gonna... Hold on. King County Courthouse. When did they build the adjacent building? I want, like, the Wikipedia article. King County Courthouse. Enclosed sky bridge connects the courthouse to the jail. Oh, okay. It is, in fact, for prisoners. And this is the jail. Well, that's kind of wild. It would be funny to put the Steamtown Mall somewhere. Do I have the Steamtown Mall? I don't appear to. Unless it's under Mall at Steamtown, which is, I think, the actual name of it. I feel like I've seen it, though. Let me check the download station. No, there's a couple of routes. Ah, you're not late, Mossy Mug. You're right on time. I'm trying to figure out what to put in this town. The fact that I found the courthouse and jail is kind of funny. So, yeah, that's too big. I kind of wish... So, like, the square footage of this building implies that you can have something taller. That's the thing that gets me. It's like, these buildings here, these three that I linked together, imply to me that you can have a tall building if you want it. Maybe just like one, you know? So I'm not, I guess, diametrically opposed. Yeah, unreasonably sized parking lot. Stop telling me to get ice cream. I need to find an acute angle to park this thing in, if nothing else. That's not right. I need to find something that already matches the street grid, is the thing. If I can find something where it fits, then sure, maybe we will do it. If it fits here, that's kind of wild, because I do not like how I set this up. No, it's angled the wrong way. If I had a mirror of this building, it would be kind of a win. It would be a winner. It would have to go here because it would fit too well. I mean, look at that. This is like the Continental, right? From John Wick. Now, the fact that it's like right here at the edge of town does not make any sense to me. But then again, I haven't looked at that kind of urban planning before. I've never looked at um, the skyscraper urban planning, the 1940s urban planning, the, you know, we're building tall buildings because we can, not because like the property values are forcing us to. I mean, there is some degree of that. There's always the profit motive, but you know, nobody builds a tall building for fun. They do it because they think they can make money selling the offices that they're going to put in it. But the fact that these two line up makes me happy. I wonder if I could plug the King County Courthouse into a different building. I wonder if I could make the jail something else. I wonder if I could re-angle this road to do something else. Because I don't really know why it's here. It's parallel to this road, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It should be parallel to this road. I don't know. The angles are just not working for me. Oh, well, what if, instead of having it run straight through, right? What if instead of having it run straight through, we had it converge? That could work. If we're keeping this building, it was so clearly a vanity project, right? Like, there was no sense and reason that went into building this building. None at all. What if it zigzagged? Okay, what is this? This is like a Soviet administrative building. Honestly, it's super cool looking. For an administrative building, it's still pretty plain. Scoot it this way. I want that to line up with that. We'll keep the carport in there, and then we will build like a big parking lot behind it. I want to insert spline point here. What did I just do? And then scoot that spline point this way. And then insert another spline point here. And take this whole road segment and do this with it. Until it's parallel with that. Bring it in here. Is this straightened or no? Straighten that. Is this straightened? No. Okay, good. I think I drank too much. Oh, great. Pat. Insert spline point. Okay, so now it's on the ground at least. Yep. I'm struggling out here. Oh, that's not helpful. Insert... Nope. Not what I wanted to do, actually. Even though I said it out loud, it's not what I wanted to do. Drugs are bad. Can I scoot this back even further? Because I need enough room to have the curve in the road. That's my problem. I don't have enough room. And the further I pull this in closer to the train station, the less weird it looks. And the more that I'm thinking about it, the more I can sort of justify its existence, right? That can just plug into right there, then. No, that's not quite parallel with the side of the building. Hello again, Lafayette. My head just hurts. I don't really act drunk. Well, that's exactly what you would think. I can't judge. I don't know. Okay. So we'll put this here. We'll have a big old parking lot over here. We've got to find a space for the Soviet building. We also can get rid of these three off the physical pick list. Don't need them hanging out anymore. This honestly should go in the university. Where's the university? Yeah, that's a school building, is what that is. Um, this warehouse. This is a book. It's like someone's getting shot from this. Actually, is the book depository? Hold on the download station. No. Okay. Um, yes, have them teach communist ideals. The the liberal education center of Bellington. And that's, yeah, I need a grassy knoll. If I'm putting like this sort of, this really does look like the book depository building, right? This is Auckland, but it's similar. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's a little bit too tall. Wasn't expecting a JFK joke. Did I just blow your mind? You can cancel me if you want. So, okay. Okay. So this is here. This, yeah, I'm going to keep it parallel to that there. Parallel to this road here. I don't really know what this is supposed to be, honestly. I don't know. Oh, it's supposed to connect to another building. It's supposed to connect to another building. Oh, it's supposed to go over the road. Ah, that was so dumb. Why did it take that long to click? Why? Yeah, because you have this side. What is this side doing? It's doing nothing. Oh, no. Now what am I going to do? I can't have that looking like that. It looks so stupid. I spent all this time to try to put this here. And I need to put it... You like it like that? Look at this. Look at the side. It's a texture with 4 pixels. No, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be a covered hopper unloading dock for a rail spur attached to the largest skyscraper in town. I need to replace with another building. I need to replace this with another building. This fits... No, you know what I can do? I can freaking do this. Hold on. Dude, watch this. My kit bashing powers become stronger. Now I have no idea what this is supposed to be, but overhead for an entrance, yeah, but you'd still have windows on this side of it. I agree. I wanted to put like a drive-through here, like a carport sort of dealio. But it just doesn't make any sense. Something I could do is I could put like some things for semi-trucks back there, like you could back the trucks in to there. But that doesn't make any sense. Like the character of this building, you're not... This is an office building, right? This is an office building. It's not anything but an office building. Hold on. Can I go to back to Surveyor Classic? Please find me a pedestrian bridge. Oh, whoops. Hold on. No. That's not gonna... No? Yeah? No? No. That's not gonna help. We're gonna find all sorts of things that are not the kind of bridge that we want. Yeah, put a timber bridge. We're not gonna find a pedestrian bridge. I can smell gasoline. That can't be good. Yeah, just gonna very quickly tap through all of these. This is kind of neat. Not what we need at all, but need for the future. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Um, Bridge of the Gods. I feel like I click on that every single time. I can't not. Um, Jet bridge stuff. Okay. Um, I just want I want either a pedestrian bridge between buildings, or or I could do something much dumber. I could do something much, much dumber. Are you guys? You aren't ready for this. You guys aren't ready for this. Watch this. Move this building out of the way. Move the governor's house out of the way. Whatever the hell that's supposed to be. I also am covering up the worst side of this building. Y'all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. All right. All right. If I really was hoping this thing was symmetrical. It is not even remotely symmetrical. If I line this up, right? I think I have to lower this one just a hair. This actually might be easier to do in Surveyor 1, in Classic Surveyor, because I'm only moving one building at a time right now. If I make sure these two are perfectly rotated... Nope, this needs to be 0.7. It's very close. Really? There we go. And then I do this. And then I fix the fact that I missed again. And then I lower this by just a skosh. Maybe 2. Yup. And then what I do is take this, because we have our very silly looking side of the building here with the poor textures. And I put this right up against that. And I'm really hoping that these two are sort of on the same wavelength so that I can... 0.7, yep. Nope, they're not on the same wavelength at all. I'm off by a full degree. There we go. I'm like tasting gasoline. Like the house is about to explode. Something's going on outside. Somebody's either siphoning gas out of my car or something. Something is going on. This is like the commercial complex, right? And I think, so if I go back to Sphere 2, I don't quite have enough room. I wish I had just a hair more. But if I move this out to there, I put those pillars right in the middle of the road, I could almost get away with it. Almost, because of this. I'm going to need to make the road wider. Signed, Robert Moses. Or maybe I have to make it narrower through here. I'm stuck with this building. Is the thing. I'm stuck with it. I don't want to be stuck with it anymore. I'm tired of it already. But I can't have it any closer to this, right? So what I'm going to have to do is there's going to have to be some shenanigans. There's going to have to be some shenanigans. But that means we're committed to this. Right? That means we're committed to this. If I'm about to build the roads so that we can do this, then we're doing it. There's no two ways around it. I need a one side of the road for the 48 foot. Or maybe I don't. For the 42 foot. I don't know if I have a one side of the road for the 42 foot. I have a both sides. No. I have both sides with grass, but I don't have only one. Can I check? 42 feet. No traffic clone. No. Okay, so we'll have to do 38 foot with one side. If I can get that. Please tell me it exists. No, it doesn't. Nothing else is this color. Okay, well then we'll have to do it the hard way. We'll have to put down the sections of roadway with no sidewalk, and then manually add the sidewalk. Do things the easy way or the hard way. This is the hard way. 38 feet of macadam. And then I want to put this here. We also need to make sure these are all the same height. And this is the height that it wants. We can also maybe skimp on the sidewalks. I don't really want to. But if that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. I want to scoot this over just a little bit, so I'm going to go in Surveyor 2. That is definitely enough. And I'm going to grab the macadam again. And I'm going to have to put it like that. Okay. And then I wanted to actually scoot both sides of the road, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be possible. What will be possible is... putting more sidewalk on the other side to give the appearance of scooting that side of the road. And now, hopefully, we still have this... Do we still have the height saved? No. Give me that height. Give me that height right there. And we might end up getting just a little bit of Z fighting from this. Speaking of JFK, is the movie of the same name any good? I've been wanting to watch it. I have no idea. I'm unfamiliar. I have my favorite piece of JFK-related media, which is a Let Me Know video called Inside the Book Depository. Great video. Really good breakdown. I've talked about it before. And that's kind of it. I did have a period in my life where I was fairly obsessed with the Kennedy assassination. I never went down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but I was absolutely, sort of enamored with, like, oh, the magic bullet sort of thing. I feel like a lot of people go through that. I went through that. I went through Titanic, too. I really have been wanting to go to some of the really nice Titanic exhibits. It's been a while since I've been to a Titanic exhibition. I did go to one once. All right, let's go that way. I got to, like, touch a fake iceberg. the joy of 12-year-old me. Oh my god, this is what sank the Titanic. Uh, I think I've watched through the movie exactly once. The Titanic V-break theory had me dying laughing because of how impossible it is. I mean, with the damage that occurred to the ship, yeah, it's pretty impossible. But you never know when you're compiling stuff from witness testimony. Uh, it is, well, it's always going to be a mess. Human brains are really bad at like remembering things, which you'd think we'd be good at it. But every time you conjure up a memory, you relive it. You sort of you go through it again, and things can change. Um, you ever have things that you just swore you remembered, and then it's not that way? Like, the Mandela effect, I feel like, is an example you could throw out there. Um, or like, yeah, I mean, any of the Mandela effect examples are great examples of how our human brains really suck, and just like f with us constantly. Growing up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I've been to the book depository once or twice. I recommend going. Is it like a sort of museum thing? Can you go in at all? Or is it just like you go there for the sake of saying that you've been to the book depository? Um, Either one I'm perfectly okay with. I'm just curious. Wrong way. 50-50 shot. Always wrong. Let's scoot in the curb here. And then apply that height. Not as good as it could be, but it's pretty close. Oh, it's a museum now. Oh, okay. Neat. It's a very good view of a Dart Y. Neat. A rail fan from the book depository. You can you can shoot trains from the book depository. No, not that way. Let's go back to here and then put that spline point in. And then go to here and put that spline point in. And I want to just give a little more room through here. Oh, that corner of the building in the way it does not spark joy. Whoops. No, give me the, yeah, there we go. No! Get rid of that. Okay, so there's that. What I want to do is separate splines, like so. And here as well, separate splines. And then we're just going to have to clip these into here just a little bit to cover the edge. Although if I straighten this one out, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now we have a connected doodad. And it doesn't exactly look like I put the same building back to back twice. Or back to back at all. It's okay. We've done okay. We're doing good. I want to find the widest example of this that I can and fill it in. Or maybe we can just fill it in with pavement, or some sort of thing. Let's see. Pavement slabs 7.2. It's my favorite Bible verse. Okay, let's try to apply the correct height to them. There. Oh, and the fact is they're kind of sunk into the ground, so that presents its own problem. Although it definitely takes up the room in a way that I'm not super annoyed by. If we had a fountain, I would put a fountain in here. No! Hold on. Can I do this and get that and those two? Yes. And then I can deselect this. And the only two things I should have are these walkways, so I can scoot them. Rats. I guess I should just make a third one. Alright, where is the, Nope. Nope. Just get it out of here for a second. Oh, because it's right there. Right. Okay. Okay. Can I please? Nope. What about this? Okay. Can put that over there. And then is it sticking out anywhere? No. Perfect. Can I get a fountain? What the heck is this? What are you? Interesting. Very interesting. Phew! Can't believe we figured out how to put this building in town and make it look not totally absurd. There we go. Gosh darn. Gush. This looks weirdly out of place now. I gotta move this. Maybe this can go on like the edge of downtown. This is like a warehouse style building. It almost feels like a jail. It's not at all, but just the color scheme and the vibes, it's very sinister. Let's take you, move you over here. Oh, and I did say I was going to build a big old parking lot too. And we want to talk about Dallas-Fort Worth area. Demolish half the city and build a parking lot. I heard they paved Paradise, as a matter of fact. Okay, what else is within this territory here? We could have some green space in here. I did want to put this over here. But I don't know exactly where we would have our Central Park equivalent. There's just not a ton of room. I mean, the thing with the grassy knoll, if we're going back to that, is that it was kind of a weird, like, traffic formation. Can I get maps? Grassy knoll. Yeah, it's because you get Commerce Street, Elm Street, and Main Street going there in a Dealey Plaza to all run out of the railroad tracks, of all things. For those who have no idea what the hell this looks like, I will show you because it's a really neat sort of traffic engineering thing. We don't really have an equivalent to this because we don't have, well, any of this stuff. So there's the thing. Nope, that's the wrong thing. I think we should have a park out here, if nothing else. But also, and I could probably, well, I can't move these now. These are all locked in. Like, these are not moving. This whole arrangement of buildings. If nothing else, it would probably be here. But it just doesn't, it doesn't work. It doesn't, it's not weird enough, right? Like, maybe it would be over here. Maybe our equivalent would be in here, which is a tiny little park by comparison. But it's the only sort of equivalent. It's the only thing trunking down. You could also put a park over here. There's got to be some green space, I just don't know where. Honestly, I think it's a little bit beyond us. A little skinny linear park, not a bad idea. Also, hello, TJ. You could have green space that ran from here, and I wouldn't really call it green space, but past this building and like in the back here. I still need to, like I said, make space for way too much parking. But I don't know. It's tough. I'm just glad we found a spot for this building that I don't feel is completely absurd. I don't know who the hell would own it, but I don't know. It kind of works. Do a green space, big dig style, yeah. Bellington has to have a presidential death associated with it. I'm not totally out of out of the question. I would imagine it's mostly empty, yeah. I might actually flip this building around so that this corner's over here. It depends. This building, I think, is a no-go. That's too modern. I don't like it. I'm just going to scoot it way over there. This and this are pretty nice. They go well enough together. In fact, they should probably be here. Again, with the kit bashing, I'm looking for pairs. Hello, Mew. I'm looking for pairs. Looking for buildings that go well together, that I can slide up next to one another and it'll look acceptable. Mew, I mentioned you earlier. I was talking about how I was gonna get into the Railroader mod pack and then I got distracted. How the NEB&W was half double track, half single track, and that lent itself to some really interesting operations, and a very different feel depending on which end of the railroad you were on. It was something that I've tried to emulate here on Tolbrand, but also if you were to get some double track in Railroader, I would say just do half the map, you know? Let's scoot this. Now, move just... Why is it moving so much? Oh my god, why is it moving so much? Is this thing tied to grid lines in some way that I can't figure out? Like, that isn't immediately obvious? South of the Corridor Park in Boston is cool. It is a really neat stretch. Let's see. Yeah, make the NEB&W in Railroader. This is another Soviet-esque building. I'm going to put that with the other one. Back here, this is definitely all going to be parking. No two ways about it. It's all going to be parking. This right here, I'll put this on the edge of the road, at this corner here, as I was sort of brainstorming earlier. No, the other half, not red, not double-tracked red marble. The Silver Line. Silver Line Way. Next stop. Baby. Hello, my love. What's up?
Graham says hi.
Yay.
She likes our car.
How's the car looking? Yeah, I kind of figured. Well, she's got $350. She can have a second non-working car.
I looked at the pictures. I told her next time she talks to her to ask her to send them to me.
We absolutely do need to do a tea exploring day. That'd be a lot of fun. Start in Mattapan. Start and end on the Ashmont Mattapan high speed line. Um, yeah, I would like to see the pictures as well. What's up? I wasn't even sure if I was gonna have dinner. Um, but yeah, sure, why not? That would be wonderful. Okay, we should fold that laundry. Do you know when I put that laundry in the washing machine? You know when that laundry like started its cleaning cycle? It's been in limbo for so long. It needs to return to its home, the drawers. I'll do it with you.
I know you'll do it with me.
You don't wanna do it. You don't wanna. Eh.
Yeah,
Well,
fold it. I'm gonna be here tomorrow. And it's just gonna sit more.
yeah, we gotta be productive because like we're not being productive. We need to do some wedding stuff. Um, we need to start sending out invites at some point. We need to do another pass over the registry. Hey, if anyone has anything,
Nothing crazy.
speaking of how I'll be away for over a week, uh, if anybody has any ideas for what we should put on the wedding registry, go ahead, sound off.
Nothing
Uh,
obscene or crazy.
Definitely all sorts of, yeah, you can ship something here. That's not a problem. You won't see it again, but you can ship it here.
Is that you?
Yeah, Mew wants to ship something here while he's out of town, which I'm perfectly fine with that. Uh, no, he's going like this coming week.
Oh, he doesn't have to send something now.
No, it's not. It's for him. It's not for us.
Oh.
Uh,
I was confused. I'm sorry. I was like, what are you talking about?
Mew is going to send us our wedding present now.
I was confused. I'm sorry.
This is gonna be macadam, I think. I need to make these blocks smaller. My problem is I keep making all of my city blocks way too
Titanic
goddamn
Legos.
big. I mean, Titanic Legos, not a bad idea, not a bad call. But we already have a Lego set that we just. TJ, if we get a Lamborghini on the wedding registry, I don't think I'll be able to lend it to you. I know that's, you know. A full-size locomotive. Yeah, let's buy a mine Loki. Casey can get us the mine Loki for whatever. Replace plane with selected asset. Casey was chilling in the call. I'm not sure if you saw her. What was what? What fell? What kind of thing just fell? House is falling apart. What? Okay. Unless you have a spare airport runway, don't give it to me. Best I can do is I-95 at 2 in the morning. Don't listen to me. Okay. Nevada Northern Engineer experience where you get to pull a train. I want to do the Danbury experience where you get to shunt. I know I rave about that a lot, but that sounds like fun. I need to just rep Danbury, like underrated museum, I guess. I don't really know if they're underrated. Just kind of wanted to say that. I don't have strong opinions about Danbury. Yeah, they have you assemble a freight train. What's up, baby?
Nothing.
You have returned.
I was just looking at the instructions for hot dogs.
I have something somewhere. I have some of the stuff I mean, You won something for Danbury, right? You won like free admission. TJ won the cab ride tickets. I think I won a pencil. Like I don't. I remember not being the one that got anything exciting. Um, I have my cab ride okay slip from Howard Pincus. Hi, baby. Which I'm just saving that for 103, I guess.
A new
Um,
house on Front Street.
who said that? Oh, new house. No. So speaking of house problems, right? I miss Hawaii. We do need to get back to Kama at some point. Speaking of house problems, some of you may remember that a while back I had bees in the house. The bee is stored in the walls. Um, it was not it was not honeybees. It was the unfun kind of bee. It was like it was the
It was
mean
the
kind.
unpleasant.
Yeah,
kind
the
of
mean
bee.
kind of bee. Um, and you messed up my.
Yeah.
Uh, and um, so we had an exterminator come out and get rid of the yellow jackets that were chilling in the wall. But they were also inside the in-wall air conditioner that's upstairs that cools the attic, which means that thing was immediately kaput. I didn't realize it until last weekend, but that's what happened. It went kaput. So I called out the Sears repairman. The Sears repairman said, "Sorry, we don't do in-wall air conditioners." Um, and I said, "Well, what the hell?" And then I sort of set my dad on the problem. Well, he set himself on the problem. So he's been trying to find an air conditioner that'll fit in that spot. And is the right, like, the BTUs. It's the right amount of power. And it has been troublesome. He found two, neither of them fit.
Damn.
But he did find one that doesn't fit, but also it doesn't plug in up there because it needs a 220-volt plug. Because it's also a heater. It's an air conditioner and also a heater. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I don't know if it's a good idea to get that because of the wiring job that would be required. But he's like, no, it's fine. I'll do it. It'll be no big deal. And I thought, well, okay. I said, if you're motivated to do this, then by all means, get the thing. And that's when he's like, it's also not the right size. And I said, I don't want to go tear it into the wall. And he goes, He convinced me that it was going to be fine. That's where we were today. It was also only $100, so it was kind of like a steal. Like I don't think it's a bad deal. I don't think it's a bad idea necessarily. WWF does not do hand on the throttle, at least not at current time. So I might be replacing that, and by I might I mean he might do it. I'm not like I'm trying to stay away from this idea. All right, I'm not accepting responsibility for this. For whatever comes. If we have a hole in the wall or whatever. I think I'm going to clip this into that. What is this? Is this the one with the... Oh, shoot, yeah. I want this to fit right here. Oop. Yeah, that'll do. It looks absolutely hideous. But that was kind of the point. I don't like the fact that it hides those windows, though. Or that it clips them a little bit. If it didn't clip the windows, I'd be an awful lot happier with it. Maybe I have to do this. That is a little bit better. It's almost parallel with the street. Um, yeah, the death of Brian Wilson is a bummer. I remember no, I remember Springsteen posted something about it as well, and he talked about how much of an inspiration the guy was and everything. And it's like, damn, how many lives has that man touched directly or indirectly, or like, insofar as being an inspiration, being an influence? That man's butterfly effect is gargantuan. Got to aspire to leave that kind of mark on history in a positive way. Um, hmm, okay. Actually, it should be parallel to this street. Yeah, maybe. I'm trying not to make more five-pointed intersections. It's really it's a problem. And I also wish this was L-shaped the other way. People should be mandated to build mirrored versions of the buildings they build for this game. Okay. It is 9:30. Maybe I should change tack just a little bit. I don't really know what to do other than scenery. I don't have like the continuity of mind to start doing stuff like industries. I don't think I want to add any more industries. Maybe a couple over here, as I've mentioned before. Um, but this area is going to be pretty hemmed in by suburbs, but otherwise underdeveloped. The only other thing I could think of is if we put in a siding off of here. That would be something to do. Um, and then this being our yard lead that crosses the road is not wonderful. Um, but I don't know how you would get to an industry in here. I'm not even sure I know how you get to this. I mean, you've got things for grain trucks there, and then they'd have to go around the building or something. I think that would be it. You'd have to turn around in there and come back this way. Maybe I should scoot this closer to that track. Yeah. Which means I should scoot this like that. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. This area I'm getting quite happy with, actually. I feel like I should add another building off of this side. I'm not sure exactly what. Let's go look through our offices again. Some of these are not the right style. Some of these I'm not sure how they would ever exist. Uh, they're genuinely confusing. What is this one? Yeah, as much as I can obfuscate this side of the... Oh, it's got to be 0.3, right? Or 0.7. 3.7. That's assuming these have... Yeah, I don't think they are remotely aligned to the same coordinate grid. That looks a little bit less bad. Like, I know, I'm seeing it because I know I'm looking, because I'm looking for it, because I know it's there. But if I wasn't looking for it, it might be a little bit less obvious to me. I feel like something has to go here. It bugs me that these are almost, so many of these buildings are almost the right angle, but not quite. It really bugs me. I, like, part of me wishes I had thought about it first, you know, but that doesn't make any sense. Obviously, I'm not gonna design my city around which buildings fit where, but it's tough to not want to do that because so many of these buildings that are angled are actually quite nice and very unique. Um, Council office. Let's move this down this way. This could go. What is that flag? Oh, it's the UK flag. Um, I did not know what it was for a moment there. Let's move this way back in the lot then and put this out front here. Okay, so the United Kingdom is confirmed to exist. Or at least something with the same flag. Um, those are all the office. Those are the big ones. The big office buildings. Um, Funeral office. Have we used this anywhere? I think we have. I feel like we've used the funeral home. I don't know where. Oh, my back. I'm just going to put that over there. Because we definitely need one near the graveyard, at least. Or maybe it should be very far from the graveyard so you get a long funeral procession. You gotta go all the way across town. Let's put this back here, maybe? Well, this is like a mill office. This definitely goes with some sort of larger complex. Or with this, although I already figured we were using this for that. Um, oh, good. Reading is here. Good to see you. I'm gonna put this here. I've probably used this building already, but it's good clutter. It sparks joy. This building I've used I used that on the multiplayer route. What was that? Holy cow. Holy cow, it's huge. Okay, never mind. The Starbucks Center, yep, we already established that that's effing enormous. We've used most of these good ones that are short enough to fit. And honestly, I just don't know what else we could even have. How big is this? That's not that bad, really. I could see fitting this over here somewhere. I did not get ice cream. I've been here, I've been working on this, I didn't get ice cream. Woe is me. I need, like, some tenements, I think. What do I have for that? I mean, I have some row houses. Not really what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of, like, brownstones. That's what I need. That's what I need. This is a neat building. I need, you know, like I said, I need some physical graffiti looking buildings. These guys are a start. They're not exactly what I'm looking for, but they're a start. I don't really like how you can see that peeking out. I do have an awful lot of tenements, though. I need New York style ones and not British style ones. And these are great if they didn't have. I think I already have these down somewhere, even in this town. These are great if they didn't have a blank side. Apartment, brownstone, any of these. But I mean, look how many I have to go through. A lot of them are British, but I'm sure I'm gonna find some good ones in here somewhere. Nah, it's a lot of row houses. Those row houses, which they're a little bit, they're not quite the density that I'm aiming for. These row houses I've got to use at some point. They're actually really nice. Oh yeah, there's one that's actually called tenement. We also have this one, which I think actually pairs fairly well with the one on the other end. It's definitely British, but it works well enough to not be a problem. This isn't how I'm going to do things. Oh, okay, we've got Chinatown. There we go. That's not bad. A little bit bigger than I would like, but not off base. Not off base. If it's off by a tenth of a degree, I feel like at this point in the night I do not care. Yeah, that's an interesting assemblage of buildings. Scottish tenements, and then British tenements, and then brown row houses. Let me try brownstone, and then apartment. Okay. So we do have Chicago brownstones. They're 2D, so they're not exactly great. But we've got those. Then we've got this. Wilmont Paint Company. That's a nice factory building. I'm going to put that down over here. It's one of those things where I could see throwing that in here and then having a track that peels off to serve it. If I wanted to add one more industry, that's what I would probably do. This industry is also just kind of chilling here. No, not Wilmot. Close, though. Say that again. I have some other buildings down. I think I used this one over there. Yeah, right there. I wanna have some less conventional shunting. I need to have some stuff that's off the way here, and I think this is it. I like this building. I want to make use of it. I think we could put it here on this road, and maybe have a this garage door's on both sides. I don't really like that. Maybe have a track come off of this and make a sharp turn across the street to feed the warehouse back end of this building. Also, this is an interesting thing that you might be able to pair with it. I wish I could just put a freight platform over here. I honestly don't think I have enough room for it. I'll need to set this back from the road quite a ways. And I've been trying to figure out what to put in this block, too. Set that back from the road quite a ways. And if I were to grab our track here, and this is sort of a proof of concept because I know that I need to build a platform back there. And something to cover up the rest of the garage doors, because you're not going to have them on both sides of the building. Unless you have trucks pulling through, which that would be kind of Interesting. Um, and then I will just pretend that that's aligned into there. And then we have not a great curve, but I can fix that. Then we have one of these. I've been trying to justify something that leaves the plane of the river, so to speak. These are parallel, these are parallel, these are mostly parallel. There's nothing on this side of the river along this branch line here. Even these are mostly parallel. That really breaks the plane. And like, yeah, that's a sharp turn, but if you if I give myself a little bit more room on this end, so I can spot a couple of cars at one end of the building. I don't have any street running here. There's plenty of street running elsewhere on Tolbrand. I don't need to double dip that hard. Um, what I do need to do is, of course, the most frustrating part of adding a switch on the curve, adding a switch on a curve is figuring out how to get it in there, how to get your straight section before the switch without causing too much of a calamity. I've talked about doing like a Claremont and Concord analog as well. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's probably as good as it's going to get. It's a very sharp corner. Well, it feels very sharp just from looking at it from up here, but it's honestly not that bad. Just want it to look a little bit more consistent. I mean, it's no streetcar radius curve, that's for sure. Like if we grab, let's do a pair of 60-footers. Oh, these have extra long shanks on them. Let's just do some 40-footers then. Yeah, I mean they make the corner. I am assuming that's the tightest part. Yeah, right at the spline point is sort of an inflection point there. And that is probably the penultimate industry we are going to add. I want to add one over here. And I grabbed this one, but I'm not really happy with it. I don't really like the way it looks. I'd like to have one down here, but I also was thinking maybe one off of the yard lead here. What kind of it? We also need a big coal dealer. That's right. We are missing. So maybe there's 3 industries I have to add. I have to add a big old coal dealer somewhere. I don't know where, at least not yet. Um, I need to add. I guess the coal dealer would probably go like over here, maybe. Um, excuse me. I need to add an industry off of the yard here, which would not be the coal dealer because the coal dealer would be older. And then I wanted to add some kind of factory over there. Um, maybe I could put the coal dealer over here. If we're adding curves, right? If we're adding curves, could I do that? I mean, that obviously looks terrible. Um, but could I, in theory, actually, it could be on this side of the road. It could be on this side of this road, and then I could have it curve in like that. Bankman, do not scratch up the thing, please. Oh, whoops, I forgot I put a fence. I don't really want to nick the corner of the football field. put up a fence to prevent myself from doing that. What if I do something even more cursed than that, which is I bring it from this track over? No, because the coal dealer would be a relatively old thing. And that I think is my problem. Um, the coal dealer would be around for quite some time, and I didn't really. Venkman's just beating on the window. There's a bug. Um, so it's going to be off of this, which. Yeah, part of me wants to just say F it and connect it into this track here so that I have enough space to do that. I mean, I could really piss off Mason if I wanted to do that. Um, just like if I were to, and this is just like a dummy piece of track. If I were to peel off of there, this is a worse corner than the last one. Venkman, please don't beat up the window. We have a diamond, and then this, and then we will cross the road, and then I'll put a coal dealer over here. That's what it's gonna be, because that's the only way I think I can squeeze in another thing, and it's close enough that you could just be like, oh, we gotta drop we gotta bring the coal cars over, and you just run them from the yard to here. If there's nothing out running on the main, yeah, these two curves are about the same. I kind of like the fact that this one's a little obfuscated. It is tight. It is quite tight. And I think I could afford a little bit more room. Maybe even Surveyor 2.0 really quick and scoot this way. Not right along the road, so we can have just a slightly less frustratingly tight corner. And then I will add a spline point, and I will connect these two spline points. And then that wasn't a straight line to begin with, was it? No. That means I need to do another spline point. Insert spline point here. Straighten spline. There we go. Is that great? No. Is it pretty? No. Is it realistic? Well, there's a prototype for everything. Is it good? Yeah, I kind of like it, actually. Am I looking forward to Mason seeing this? Well, actually, I will clarify. When I said that I could annoy Mason, what I was actually thinking was making the diamond on the railroad crossing, which would be truly heinous. Reading in Northern moment. Yeah. Go through the parking lot. Right up the hill through the parking lot. Yeah, so then we're going to have this run. There's a bug on my desk. We're going to have this run right across the street. And then we'll have our coal dealer over there. And, whoa, I just launched my phone. This is a really cool industry that we're not going to use. This is a cool industry that I'm going to put over here. excuse me, somewhere. And I need to find something over here. I need to find a dock or something I can clip into that building and make it look better. And honestly, I should probably just look around and see what buildings I have that have a loading dock on them that I can park up against that building. Or at least have like something that looks like something that resembles a loading dock, like this. I think this is too big of a building though. It's probably too tall. What about this? This might do the trick. Yeah, okay, this is the right way around. And if I clip this all the way into the building, yeah, no. Well, if I do that then, again, I don't love the fact that I'm leaving the tops of windows exposed, and I don't like it. It also just doesn't look very good as a kit bash. It's not the worst, but it's not great. If I scoot this over to the right, then I do have enough room for trucks to come in here and park directly across the tracks and make everyone's life a living hell. Oops, I just cloned it. I think that makes it about right. And then let's take both of these, scoot them right up to the track. And then we'll have a nice big lot in the front, and then in the back we've got this going on. And then I still want something to cover that up. Maybe some other kind of... I can never find... Bankman. Could never find stuff in Surveyor 2. Never, ever, ever. Always struggling to find stuff. Oh, okay. Gatehouse. Maybe I can use this. It's probably not tall enough. Not tall enough, not quite. Boiler Annex. How many are there? Then yes, please. Nope. Oh, fudge. It's just not quite the right width. Hmm. Holy cow. Oh. I like the sugar mill pieces a lot. They are pretty versatile, very useful. I think if I... This is almost exactly the right length. It's a little short. I might be able to get away with it without annoying myself, my own sensibilities. The other thing that's nice is I can, if I want to cover those windows up, I can just pull it out far enough to cover those windows up. This is 50 degrees. This is 0.6, so let's bring it down to 0.0. I don't like the fact that this is very obviously a Franken building. I don't like it. I think it might be better if I just sort of gave up and did that. And I left the one garage door there. Should make the most convoluted industrial spur ever created running through the city. That's going to happen in Gilson, don't worry. Don't worry, I have a plan for that. Um, do I just rotate this slightly and bring it out a bit? Because I would like it... Oh, that's as far out as it can go. And also, it should scoot a little bit to the right. And then, track running between buildings. Well, so in my plan, there's something that I wrote out that is there's an isolated stretch of Volga Mountains Railroad track yard, isolated stretch of Volga Mountains Railroad VMR trackage, uh, east of Gilson City, and the only way to get to it, is to run over some of the like downtown trackage and then take a spur that they just sort of wedged in to get from like the nearest heavy rail, not subway but metro line, I guess, whatever, over to the section of railroad in question. It's going to be an opportunity to sort of let imagination run a little wild, because it's going to be totally bizarre and nonsensical. How was that sound? Alright, so anyway. Part of me, like, I want to make one of these just, like, a little more complicated. I just don't know how. The coal dealer we can make more complicated. I can actually put some storage tracks over there if we want. And then we can just have that industry be sort of its own problem. I also like the fact that these two here are like the only trailing point industries around. Everything else is... Oh, well, no, sorry. No, these... Well, this one is both. This one... And maybe there are more trailing points on this side. But yeah, I needed to let them out of the box a little bit. I needed to let the railroad sprawl beyond the immediate confines of the river. If I was... And we have the... Bankman. We have that happen over here. And I wouldn't mind having it happen over here, too. But I just don't... Get down. Get down. You're losing your window privilege. Just get down. I can't have you beating up on the screen. You're gonna break it. Get. Shoot. I'll be back. Yeah. I think we have enough industry in this town. We have enough railroad in this town. It's nuts. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Under Construction, and I will see you next week. This is the Admiral.